Hello and welcome to number four, fourth lesson of Sue Carberry's amazingly free astrology course for beginners and refreshers. And today it's all about transit. So Sue is our resident astrologer at PainFree, and handing it all over to Sue. All over to you. Just unmute you. That's the one. But we need Sue talking, and I will go quiet. All yours, Sue.
Okay, thank you very much. Hi guys. There seemed to be a lot of fear around the full moon that took place in Scorpio. And the astrologers were talking about it not only because there was Scorpio Sun opposition, which is a full moon. Uranus was sitting on the Sun, which gave it an unpredictable edge. There was also a Pluto-Mars opposition in the sky that was separating. That did its worst and is moving off. But also, I was watching a Steve Judd video, and if you notice this full moon, the moon was rather small in comparison to other full moons. So it diluted its effect somewhat in a big way. So how do we work out transits and how they affect us personally? Have you got your charts in front of you guys? Do you know where Scorpio lay in your chart?
Just looking for mine on my phone. I drew it and got a photo of it a month ago.
Okay, Rose, do you have yours? I will, because I've got yours on my phone here, so I can look at yours if you wish. All right, where's Rose? Because I've got the chart up and I can go through the chart and how it affected me, which you by reading that, and you guys joining in, tell me what you see, and then you can perhaps have a better idea, because when you put your own thoughts across. No, Rose, I don't have your chart.
So we're looking for where's Scorpio in the chart, right?
Where's Scorpio in your chart? Mine is in the fourth house.
Mine's in the fourth house.
Mine straddles fourth, the third, and the fourth, but at the my IC, which, if you remember, is the bottom of the chart, which is the border between your third and fourth house, which means Scorpio rules my fourth house. I also have Neptune at 21 degrees of Scorpio, and the moon was sitting on top of my Neptune and my IC at the bottom of my chart.
Sue, do you want to share your chart so as you speak, and then people can have a look, think
Yep.
about what you're telling them, and you can see what you're telling them, please.
Okay. Now, where do I do that again?
So at the bottom, it's a green button says share. So you click
Yeah,
on the bottom,
there we
click that,
go.
and then you want to put see on the right hand side, you've got people in the picture.
Yep,
So
I'm going.
do you
I've got
see
to
when you
find. Yeah.
do you see when you share, Sue?
Yeah.
You need to put so go back into the share button,
Mm-hmm.
and on the right hand side you can see it's a full screen or it's a little guy with a screen. If
Right.
you click, if you
There we go.
yeah, did you click the little guy in the skip in the screen? Yeah,
Yep. Oh,
great. Because then the recording will be your face as you're talking.
right. Can you see the chart?
Yes.
Okay. This is the chart of the full moon that was in the sky. Now, my chart down here, this is 21 degrees. That's the full moon. I couldn't get it to the actual degree because the moon is 19 and the sun is 22. It should be 23 and 23, but it's near enough, which means that this IC here, my Neptune, and my IC is here, and my North Node is right at the end here, and my MC is here in Taurus. So it affected this axis in my chart, which is my home and my career.
Why does it affect you? Because it's on the same placing as yours.
Yeah. You
Right.
see, if I had a Capricorn IC, it wouldn't affect. But because the degree of the moon this is the snapshot of the sky, the full moon. If you overlay my chart on this, my ascendant will be here at 6 degrees. So Mars is sitting on my ascendant during that, which means Pluto is sitting on my descendant. Means that the Uranus and the Sun is sitting on my Uranus, not my Uranus, sorry, my North Node and my MC. My MC is 24 Taurus, which means that the IC is 24 Taurus because it's a straight line. And my North Node is 29 Taurus and my South Node is 29 Scorp. They're my personal, that's personal to me. So the full moon could have made or wreaked havoc in my life. But because I knew what was going on, I avoided too much confrontation. I went to, I isolated myself and just ate ice cream and sat on my sofa.
Wonderful. Is
And
everyone...
also,
Sorry.
Mars over here on my ascendant, that can make me very angry because Mars is passionate, Mars is action, and I'm not great at keeping my gob shut at the best of times. So I had to be careful there with Mars sitting there on my ascendant.
Is
And of
everyone
course,
getting... Is
is
everyone
everyone
getting
getting
okay?
this? Thumbs up, guys. How you doing, Graham? Are you catching this? Does anyone have any questions? Unmute and speak to me, please.
I've just Googled the meaning of MC, meaning mid-heaven.
Yes, mid-heaven is the top of your chart. It's the border between the 9th and the 10th house. The 9th house is Sagittarius house. It's a house of higher learning, greater learning, long distance travel. This is where you'll find your PhD, your diplomas, your degrees. Down here, you'll find your gossip and your silly magazines. So it's higher learning, whereas that's a lower learning. And your 10th house is the house to do with your career, your work, and this is your public face. So anyone who's in the public eye will have prominent planets up here on the MC.
May I
So
just
carry on.
May I just introduce myself and tell you what attracted me to this course was
Feel free.
Yeah, thank you. I was attracted to your the commonality when you said that you always felt like an outsider, you know, distance from your family and like what would you call it? I'd say a black sheep or something, and then you got in trouble when you opened my mouth. I had a very deep resonance with that. I've wanted to study astrology because my best friend since 5 has always talked about it, and I always get lost after the third sentence. So I decided to take it a bit more seriously and learn a bit more about it. So I liked your story and I thought I'd come along.
So the ones that break away from the generational trauma of the family because we refuse to fit in.
Right.
And it is in your chart. The black sheep within you is usually very blatantly obvious in your chart. So with the Leo ascendant and Mars sitting on my ascendant, if you have anything in early, fixed. So what are the fixed signs, guys? Remember, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio are your fixed signs. So we've got this, not a grand cross, because it's, if this was here at late degree, we would have a grand cross. In other words, everything around 20 degrees of fixed signs becomes a cross. We've just got an opposition, which is what a full moon is. Everyone remember, an opposition is directly opposite. How many degrees is directly opposite? 180. So full moon is always an opposition. So whenever you're looking at transits, you look at, okay, in the sky, my ascendant's here. Okay, Mars is sitting on my ascendant. Keep your gob shut, keep your clothes clean, and keep out of trouble. Watch your triggers for irritation. So take a breath and walk away. Over here, you've got Pluto. Pluto is all about that which is hidden. It's Scorpio's ruler. So I have to be careful over the next 3 years. I'm going to have Pluto zigzagging over my ascendant descendant axis, which is this one here. So when you're reading transits, this is why I can't stress enough. Know your 12 houses, know your 12 signs, and know your planets, what the energy that they give. When you understand that certain planets don't make good bedfellows, then you can understand the disagreement of the energies. What's up, Graham?
What is the difference between a house and a star sign?
That's easy. A house are these numbers here,
Right.
and every chart has 12 houses, and they correlate to the energy of the signs. So this chart has Mercury ruler because Venus is at first house. First house is always, without fail, Aries energy. I am me. So main character syndrome, energetic. Second house is Taurus, but this one's ruled by Virgo as well. Third house is Gemini, but is ruled by Libra. So when this is imperative. To learn astrology, you have to learn the basics. Graham, in the media section of the chat, there's a load of documents. Help yourself. And if you don't get access, just drop me a PM or a DM.
Thank
So
you.
when you
Yeah.
know the energy.
Can I just put that in
Yep.
my words just to confirm that I've got it? So whenever an individual is born, their first house will be Aries energy, but let's say they were born in December, they wouldn't be Aries sign, but their first house.
Sort of. Your ascendant changes every 2.5 hours. Your ascendant is the time that you were born. Then once you have your ascendant, the time, the houses then fall into place. And depending on where you're born in the world, will give you different size houses as well.
Okay. So I'll go back and watch the 3 previous lessons.
Yeah, and you can always DM me, and if you've got anything specific, if I've got the time, you can have it. So the way I learned and the way I write the documents is in keywords because I'm a bit dyslexic and I've got a weird wonky brain. So when I look at the planets and I think, okay, Mars is it rules Aries. So Mars in the 12th house in Leo in this chart, not a good place because this is Pisces house. So, but it's opposite here, which makes it very, very powerful. Now, these two were not very good bedfellows because Pluto is all about that which is hidden. It's shadow, and Mars is considered like an ADHD child. I want it now. But it's also about passion and drive and competition. And Pluto is that which is hidden. Now, in traditional astrology, Pluto and Mars touches like this could indicate violence. It could indicate quarrel. It could indicate war. But that's when you really understand what the energies of these planets mean. And this is in opposition. So what you've got here is you've got an argument or a projection with two planets that don't like each other. So consider this sort of almost like daughter-in-law and mother-in-law. You know, they don't get on. And so when you're looking at charts like this, these two are not very good bedfellows either because Uranus is the rebel that it's about where you do not conform. Where do you rebel against society? It's a generational planet. So everybody born in this mid-60s summer of love will have Uranus over here in Virgo. But in the sky, the way you read transits is, where is my chart in comparison to this chart? Yes, and Althea.
I don't understand what you mean by transits. I'm probably asking a stupid question, but what do you mean?
This is a transit chart. This is a chart that was cast at the time of the full moon that has recently passed. So what you're doing is, this is that time of day on, so it's like comparing my chart and your chart. Only this is a transit chart of what has happened in the sky.
What's transited? What's been moving about?
What's transitioned over you. And it does transition because it keeps moving. Pluto may move exceptionally slow, but it's still moving. So a transit is a planet that moves over you or your stuff.
Okay, thank you. And I've just learned something recently which blew my mind, which maybe it's just me, but if anyone else has missed the same, I thought, well, how does this all work? Well, that circle in the middle is the Earth. It's the Earth.
Yep, that's the Earth in there. So
everything just slotted into place when you said that to me, Sue.
So you're in the middle. If you put yourself in the middle of this, then it can make a lot of sense. Everything below this horizon are personal, and everything above this horizon is you interacting in the outside world. And this is the pinnacle of you in your public life, and this is the you privately behind closed doors. This is how other people see you, because this is your ascendant, this is first impressions, and this is you interacting with other people, because it's the seventh house. That's very, very simplified. There's a lot more complex to it, but keep it simple. So I say, family, I create, my work, my friends, my underworld, other people's money, other people's resources. The ninth house is higher education, communication, and foreign travel. 10th, my career. 11, my groups, Facebook. And 12, what I keep secret, what's hidden from me. Yes, Althea.
So this transit of the chart of the moon transit, does that mean that where everything is, this is what's influencing our world, the Earth, during that time?
This is what has influenced. This is a snapshot of this is the Earth in the middle at this particular time. This is the chart of the full moon. How is this going to affect you personally? Then you overlay your chart, and I think, oh, moon, this is my stuff's down here. Oh, that's on my stuff. Okay. Oh, and that's on my ascendant. Shit, I better basically be a hermit for about 48 hours. Otherwise, I'm going to piss people off. I'm going to say the wrong thing because I won't think, and I might cry because wounds will come up because the moon is down here, and I've got Neptune down here, so I might decide I want to retreat into myself or have a few drinks or whatever. So, and Pluto on my descendant, because Pluto is over here on mine, that's a long term. I'm thinking, oh bugger, that's going to take 3 years to pass at least. So when I'm looking at this as well, thank God Saturn has moved off my moon, which is 23 degrees of Pisces. Neptune, thank God, has moved out of Pisces, because that has been holding everybody back. And then we got a lot of Aries energy. So that's why it's a bit more punchy now than it was at the beginning, a couple of years ago or even longer. So when you're looking at transits, you always compare this to your own chart. So you put them side by side, or you can put them with astro.com. You can actually put the transits in and they'll come up here in little green letters. I didn't do that because it loses its clarity.
So where do we find this on astro.com? where do we find moon transit or anything transit?
I'm just getting that up on my phone and I will show you. Okay. So you get that. It's not going to show it, is it? Okay. You go into the chart selections. Can you see that there?
Can you share it on
It's
the
that one there. I don't know how to get that up properly on this.
can you go to astro.com on the screen you're looking at with Zoom, and then you can share that screen?
I'm just opening. Because my phone, my laptop has just done an update and I got, right, thank you. Astro.com. Can you see my screen?
We can see the chart, the moon chart, the moon
Okay.
transit. If you go to share screen, and you can choose which screen you want us to look at. Make sure you put that guy on the right, the guy in the picture on the right as well, so that when we have the recording, you'll be able to see your face over what we're looking at.
Okay, can you see that? Can
Yeah.
you see my screen? Okay, this is my chart. So I select my chart. Come on. And then you go to extended, and this is where you'll find them all. Extended chart selection. And then you go down to natal and transit, and that'll do, and we'll do the 12th of May. Show the chart. See these little ones here?
Yeah.
That's what's in the sky. And this is my chart. So you can see that Pluto is actually here at 3 degrees. It's off my Venus. And you can see the moon, it's actually should be here on top of my, the time for this is wrong, but the date is right. This is earlier, it's the, yeah, it's at midnight, it should be earlier on. But see, can you see the sun in the sky is on my MC? That's my north node, and there's Uranus. So it's all up here. I had to be very careful at work that I didn't shoot my mouth off or get upset about something, because it's a very powerful place up here. I could have trod on toes, so I sort of hibernated in my room on the Saturday.
Because it's the height, it's the zenith of your days of you. It's
But
the MC.
it's not only that, it's Uranus. Uranus is unpredictable. It's where you rebel against authority. So those that marched the street in the summer of love when we were born, Althea, were protesting, and the civil rights movement, because you had Uranus and Pluto together in Virgo over here. So you had rebellion against tradition, and Pluto represents the masses. So when you've got Uranus involved, it gives whatever it touches a very unstable, rebellious edge. Our ex-boss, or your ex-boss, and my current boss, Marcus, is quite Uranian. He goes against tradition. He goes against convention. So Uranus in your chart, and Uranus with the sun up there opposite the moon, can make for very unstable emotions as well, because it's in Scorpio. So what can happen if, as well, is the moon in Scorpio, it doesn't like being there. So you can actually, that would be a really powerful time to do some digging and do deep healing, because the moon is in Scorpio. It would be quite a good time to do deep healing if you wanted to dig deep.
So, why is it doesn't like to be in Scorpio? Because the moon is sensitivity and
Simple.
feeling.
Yeah. Scorpio is hard. Scorpio is cold, can be cold. Scorpio doesn't trust. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and there's nothing touchy and feely about Pluto, that's for sure. So having Scorpio placements, whenever I know when I've met someone with heavy Scorpio placements, because there's something mildly dangerous or distant. You can see it in their face. They've usually got dark hair, dark eyes. Even if they've got blue eyes, there's something intense. Quite often with Scorpio and Scorpionic energy is they want you to open up to them, but they won't open to you. To really truly know someone who is heavily Scorpionic takes a lot of trust on their part and many, many years. But once you've earned their trust, don't break it, because they'll cut you dead. It may be water, but it might as well be frozen water, ice, which is not malleable, bendable at all. It's the water sign that it's a hard energy to carry. Anyone who's got heavily Scorpionic placements has a very they've got a difficult time on the planet. They've chosen to come in with some pretty difficult stuff. So that's how you read transits. So I'm looking at this, and you can see that Saturn in the North Node is near my moon. So Saturn on my moon leaves you with a feeling of Johnny no mates, isolation, lonely, alone. It's enough to drive you to drink. It's really hard. And I've had Neptune on all of this Pisces stuff, and Saturn on all of this Pisces stuff, and opposite this lot over here, and square this. So for me, it's difficult to discern what's what sometimes. But when I saw this Scorpio full moon, I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting, primarily because of this little bugger, Uranus. It gives it an unpredictable edge. So if you're trying to sit down and have a meeting, don't have a meeting where you want things to go your way with a chart like this. If you're going to have an election, you don't have an election with a chart like this. So this is how you can also see why there's a potential for failure for some things, because if you were going to get married and that was your marriage chart, oh, don't do that.
So do you want to? Shall we get Rose and Graham's, Oriana's, whoever wants to bring their chart
Any
up?
feedback, guys? Anyone want your chart?
Yeah, I can share my chart. I mean, I've got a link. I've done it on.
Shall we just give a word of
I can put it in here.
Oh,
should we just say a word of warning to, like you gave everybody else before, about putting your
Yeah,
chart
if you
up?
put your chart up, it is your personal chart, and someone like myself can see an awful lot in someone's chart. But if you want me to add your chart, I'm more than happy.
yeah,
Because this is
I'm
going to be
okay with that.
this is going to be recorded, and it's going to be on my
Yeah.
website for anybody to see, Graham. It's a bit
Mm.
like, flashing in public.
Well, only if
Well,
you know what you're looking at. What's your birth date, darling? What's your details?
20th March. March, yeah.
Yeah. And what year?
65.
Time?
11 p.m. 11:30.
11:30 p.m.
Your mum was up late.
Whereabouts? Where were you born? What?
Harrogate, in UK. HAR, yeah.
Right, there we go. And immediately. Okay. So you've got Mars-Pluto conjunction. No wonder you never felt at home in your family. And you're a Scorpio moon person. So the full moon, it sits on your ascendant axis, which is 23. So the full moon actually sat right on here. So that would have been interesting. What did anything significant happen Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday that you want to share, of course? Or did it go without any?
I went traveling
Okay.
and accomplished a task I had in mind because I had to get to Coventry and get a tire on my car, and drove it to Northampton, back to Coventry, and came back. Yesterday was more. Yesterday was a difficult day.
Okay.
Um,
Then what would have shifted? Nothing major would have shifted in this chart other than perhaps I see what's going on. You've got Saturn over your Venus, and you've got Neptune on your Sun. Okay. What that means is Saturn is all about restriction. It's all about hard work. It can be about solitude, and it's on your Venus. Venus is your pleasure principle, your sense of beauty, your sense of enjoyment, and you've got Saturn going over it. So it's a time to dig deep and heal. It's a feeling of aloneness and isolation and Johnny no mates. It's not a nice feeling, but it's a time to go in, do the hard inner work. But your biggest issue here is you've got Neptune on your Sun. And Neptune on your Sun is you'll lose your inner compass, or you could lose your inner compass. Neptune muddies the waters. You can't get your feet firmly planted on the ground because Neptune is anything but solid. So the Sun is all about your identity, your vitality. So you may feel like you've got a slow leak with regards to energy, but you won't be the same person that you are once these transits are finished with you. So it's a big catalyst for inner transformation. But because it's in your fourth house, there's dealings with family that may not be very pleasant.
that all fits. I mean, yeah, that I kind of feel.
Sorry, carry on.
I kind of feel like that. I mean, relations in my family are, for
They're
one,
tough.
they're tough,
You've
and I'm
got,
aware of that. And I'm kind of like
yeah.
I'm backing off and kind of viewing it from a distance, and
Well,
improving
if you're
things.
doing that, if you're doing the generational family of origin healing stuff, you're doing it at the right time. Saturn will give you the stamina. Saturn will give you the stamina. This process is not going to feel light and airy. It's going to feel like you're going potholing. But your Chiron here, the wounded healer in your fourth house, tells me that your wounds were created down here. This is your father. So father could have been absent. I'm pulling you apart. If it's too personal, please let me know.
No, I'd say is distant. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
working for the last 4 or 5 years just to get a more personal relationship with my father, because I
may
realized
not be
in
possible.
no, it's not, because he's like getting really old and had too many COVID jabs. He's
My father
he's
was
not at all chatty.
no. And also with your Scorpio moon here in your 12th house, it's difficult for you to forget. You won't forget, but forgiving. May I suggest that with the Scorpio moon, it's a difficult moon emotionally. You don't need to forgive the perpetrators, but please forgive yourself.
Mm. Yeah, that's spot on. This is what you were talking about earlier, isn't it? It's
Yeah, I mean your journey with the full moon was personal because the moon was sitting here, the sun was sitting here. You've got Uranus just gone over your descendant here into your seventh house, which tells me all the dynamics of your relationships, which is loved one, not your family, that's down here, but your chosen partner and your business partners, your external friendships, not family of origin, is going to take major changes because Uranus is there. And it's going to happen out of the blue, unexpected, for good or ill. So I always see Uranus as a harbinger of change. And if you are open to change, it can be bloody exciting, especially if you feel stuck and you feel like you're sort of like you don't know where to go, or you're a hamster going through the same shit different day. Then Uranus can come along and take you off that in the most unpredictable, unusual ways.
Yeah. No, that's already been happening. I've been aware of it.
Yeah.
It's not, I've been expecting things not to be the same.
So anyone got any questions? You've just had a crash course on how you're reading transits.
Is transits, do they occur all the time?
Yes, because
yeah.
all of these green ones are constantly moving. There are patterns for the outer planets.
So just going back to Althea's earlier question, is it right to say that a transit is the way that the current planets are affecting the positions in your birth chart? As in, like I think you explained that actually, just me getting it.
Almost. What transits are is this never changes.
Yeah.
For now, you don't need to know about things called progressions, secondary progressions. This never changes. This is your birth. So you're here, you were born, snapshot in the sky. This is it. As you grow, these little buggers around here, the planets continue to move. There are certain patterns, like Saturn is on a 7-year cycle. Uranus is on a an 84-year cycle. And Jupiter, where's Jupiter? Gemini, there we go. That's a 11.9 to 12.5 year cycle. And that cycle is to do a full circle. Now, when you're looking at Saturn return, everybody heard of Saturn return?
Yeah.
Rose, put your thumb up.
Yes.
You have? I can't see, but Oriana, I don't want to lose anybody and run away with this. Right, here we go. Got a chat. Yes, you're right. Okay. Saturn. Now, we've all heard the Jesuit priests, I think it's Jesuits, say, give me the child till 7 and I'll show you the man. So here's, do you want to do, I'll do my chart. So we're not, it's moving away from personal. Because I prefer to put myself in the spotlight. Right. So when I was born, my Saturn was 17 Pisces. When I was approximately 7 years of age, it would have moved around to 17 degrees of Gemini. That first 90 degree is the first Saturn square. At 7 years of age is when we think Santa Claus, what a load of rubbish. The Tooth Fairy, what a load of rubbish. No, Mum, you're not, it's our first understanding of the difference between fantasy world and reality, and that our parents, we don't have to believe and say everything or do everything they say. It's our first real headbutt against authority. So that's 7. And it's, we go to school as big kids, and we generally take ourselves to school on the bus or we walk. At least we used to. And then the next one is opposition. Teenagers. I hate you, Mum. So that's the first time that we actually want complete, total and utter autonomy. And we turn into disgusting teenagers. And I think that is also part of the process of enabling parents to let the child go, because they get so exasperated that we release them into the world. So that's our first Saturn return. It's also our teenage, when we start menstruating, boys develop and they get sticky socks. We all know what that means, don't we?
So hold on, Saturn is on a 7-year or a 14-year cycle?
It's 28 to 30, but it goes in chunks of 7. So every 7 years, you get a negative or hard aspect to Saturn. Saturn is your authority figure. It can be your father or whoever was the authority in your life when you were born. In my case, it was my father. Then it became my mum. So the first one is when I was 7. So it was over here. And also at the same time, my mum and dad split. So at 14 is over here, approximate, give or take. Then the next one, everyone will get 21. You're given the key to the house. 21, you're allowed to drink. In America, 21 it still is. And 21 is when we generally used to leave home and go to university, or leave home and go and live in a squat, or leave home and so like assert ourselves, I'm an adult now. And it can be when our friendships with our parents and our family actually come back onto an even keel. And then finally, we get the first return between the ages of 28 and 30. My mother died when Saturn was on my son. And then when it hit my Saturn, well, actually, she died down here when it was in Aquarius. But after my mum died, I became an aromatherapist from the money that my mother had left me. So that was my Saturn return. And that keeps flipping out. And then the cycle continues. So then there's the next Saturn square. And then at 42, there's a Saturn opposition. 42 is when men wonder, have I actually climbed the career? Have I actually got the Lamborghini I always promised myself? Am I the CEO? Where with women, it's possible on encroaching of menopause. It can also be teenage children, and it can be I'm losing my youth. It can be a very tough time at 42 for women and men. My husband had his strokes at 42, and his Saturn was his second Saturn return, and he had his strokes at second Saturn return. Then we have the second Saturn square again, and then the cycle continues for your second Saturn return at approximately 58 to 60.
Why is there a variation between 58 and 60? Is there some retrograde motion or something to account for?
Yeah, it takes approximately 2.5 years to go through a sign. So that's why it's around 28 to 30, because depending where you are, where the Saturn is, depends on whether you get 1, 3, or 5 hits through the retrograde. And the retrograde is where the planet appears to go forward, then turns around and comes back, and then goes forward again, and then comes back. So you generally get 3 hits. Oh, sod it. My screen keeps.
I'm just trying to find to put the transits on my chart. I can't seem to find. Do you know which button you press for? You said extension and transit, but I can't find the extension. Could you point me in the right direction, please? How did you find?
Right, so you click your own extended chart, and it's got that picture. If you're on a mobile, it will be underneath here. Okay, so then you click on that, and then you've got web default. No, sorry, natal chart wheel, and then here we go. And you just keep scrolling down this drop down menu until you see transits. and then you go transit, natal plus transits.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone got any questions, guys? And that will give you the transits as of this one's just this one's set the date. This is today, the 15th of May. So it's past the full moon. So the moon now is in Saggy, and everything else has moved on. And you
Sue,
can see that.
hi.
Hi, Ariana, what's up?
So regarding transits, I have a situation in my life where people have appeared from 28 years ago.
Okay, that's the Saturn.
So that,
I'm not going to put your chart up. I have your chart. Okay. When things like that happen, it means it's come up to clear, simple. It's
yes.
either to apologize or make amends or say bye-bye.
Uh-huh.
The choice is yours. Do you need to apologize, or is it thank you very much, goodbye?
Well, they were both people that I wouldn't mind having in my life.
Then have a
It's
chat,
just that
discuss.
through circumstances, we didn't maintain contact. But I mean, it was weird when the first person reached out, and then the second person I found out she's living up the road from me, and we were last in
Okay,
a little town in the middle of nowhere in Zimbabwe.
right now you have Pluto going over your Chiron. So what's going on with you? Pluto over your Chiron, that's a very slow moving transit.
Right?
Chiron is in your 5th house. It's in Aquarius at 3 degrees. So Pluto is sitting bang on it right now. It's also opposite your still opposite your Cancer stuff and your Mars at 4 degrees of Leo. But with Chiron is a wounded healer. So my advice to you is, what have you got to lose than having an honest, open discussion?
Yeah, this is what we've been doing. I mean, they were a rich part of my life. It's not that we had bad blood or anything.
Sometimes it's got nothing to do with you and everything to do with what's going on with them.
Ah,
See, with all
okay.
of your Cancer stuff, your biggest lesson is to not take things personally. That if somebody is upset or emotional, most of the time it's got nothing to do with you. Cancer personalizes other people's emotions.
Yeah.
Stop falling on your sword. It's not about you. Step back, take a breath, and go, how have you been? Tell me what's been going on. And let them tell you.
Yes. Okay.
Does that make
And
sense?
it does. And one more question, is there anything in my career that's evident at the moment?
Yeah, your MC at 3 degrees of Cancer and everything up there, and all of all of that Cancerian, you should the career that I would be looking at is anything to do in nurturing or caring for people. Starting with self.
Okay, ma'am.
Always start with self.
Yes.
If you don't put your own oxygen mask on, how the hell can you help somebody else?
True.
I am sick and tired of therapists being burnt out because they care too much about others. And I mean, I come across as a right grumpy old cow sometimes because I rip into them. How can you work as an effective and efficient therapist if you're on your knees? You can't. So it'd be like, what's going on with you personally? Interior designing, anything to do with the home, anything to do with caring, but don't go into burnout.
Right.
But
I'm
you,
decluttering big time.
oh yeah, because cancers are hoarders. They don't like to let go of anything, just in case it might come in handy one day. If someone gives you something, you don't want to get rid of it because it's got sentimental value. At the end of the day, it's just stuff. When you die, you take the contents of your heart The vase that some kid made you is not relevant. It's the feeling that is inside you. Everything is just stuff. Does that make sense?
For sure.
If I'm overstepping the mark and I'm being too direct, because
Oh
you're
no, I never have a problem with that. You know me.
indeed just checking.
And health?
Health is what you decide it to be, because
Okay.
the way I see it is if you're a people pleaser, then the 80% of autoimmune diseases that affect women, and the personality traits that affect women more than men are people pleasing.
Say that
If you
again.
please, 80% of autoimmune diseases are women.
Yes.
And the personality trait that women have over and above men is people pleasing. What people pleasing does is you deny self, ignore your gut feeling, ignore the fact that your body, your mind, your emotions might be exhaustion, and you still put a smile on your face and go, yes, okay, I can do that. Learn to say thank you, but no.
Right.
Because taking care of self, how can you help others if you're not healthy yourself?
Exactly.
And if you listen to Helen Mirren, one of the things that she says is one of my biggest regrets is not saying no and telling people to fuck off sooner.
Okay.
I do bring things down to a very short, direct vernacular sometimes, because I'm not on this planet to win a popularity contest. I'm on this planet to do the job that I was born to do. And if that creates discord in someone else, it says more about them than it does me, as long as I
Right.
come from a place of compassion and kindness. And that can be, thank you, but fuck yourself, could be coming from kindness and compassion, because you can't save someone if they're not ready to be helped.
Right. True.
And I'm not going to lose sleep over somebody who doesn't want to save themselves, who's quite happy in victim. When they're ready to come out of victim, hell yeah, I'm there. But until you come out of that, no.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. You're
Love it.
welcome.
Thank you.
Well, you're an Antipodean, so you get where I'm coming from. Anybody got any questions? I
For
know you've been
sure.
very quiet, Rose. Maybe you want to DM me on, I know that you don't, your voice is, you're not really want to participate. You're an observer. That's cool. Just DM me if you've got any queries. I can deal with that later. Anyone got any queries about transits?
Okay, so when we do that thing that you showed us to put our own chart in terms of the transits,
Mm-hmm.
what information are we putting in?
It's just your regular chart. And then when you
Yes.
drop down and go transit, it will automatically do today, now.
I see. All right. Okay.
Unless you want to put in a different date or something. But the only thing that will move are all the inner planets. And the inner planets move so quickly, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus. And they're okay because they're 1 to a week transit at the most. It's the big buggers, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto. They're the ones that will give you your biggest healing lessons, your hardest work. Neptune was on me for 15 years.
Mm.
When you say it's not on you for 15 years, what do you mean? Because it's
So, okay, Neptune, as soon as it went on to the descendant on my chart, it was then in my 7th house. It affected all of my relationships, personal and business. And then it chuffed along, and about 2012, it went over my son. I was made homeless because of my husband's illness. And then it chuffed over my Mercury, and then my Saturn, then my Mars, and then my Chiron, and then finally my Moon, and then finally the bugger sodded off into Aries. Now
How do you know,
also,
how do you know that's 15 years? How do you see 15 years?
because of when it went 6 degrees of Aquarius. When Neptune hit 6 degrees of Aquarius, it entered my 7th house. And then it chuffed all the way along until it came to 19 degrees Pisces, and then it went into my 8th house. When Neptune was on my moon in my 8th house, my husband died and I inherited money. And the 8th house is about death, dying, rebirth, renewal, other people's money's inheritance.
Wow. And that section is 15 years, is it? That
Longer.
2, 3
Because
houses.
it's a bit, well, no, from the 8th house, well, yeah. If you take the transit where the passage through my 7th house and then into my 8th house, over my Chiron, over my moon, and then finally into Aries, my whole life has changed. It does not look like anything from when it first started, especially when it hit my son. Now I could see it coming, and I watched it like a car crash. And I made a decision when my husband became ill. I said, I don't want to just survive this. I want to somehow thrive this. And I used astrology because Saturn was also over here because I had a Saturn opposition. And I had Uranus over here as well because it was 42. So I had Saturn over here on top of my Uranus and Uranus on top of my Saturn. And Neptune going through here going, yeah, let's get hippified. Let's just lose it. It was hard. But the astrology and knowing the astrology helped me to understand. So I got help for me. I found a acupuncturist to help with my adrenal fatigue. I took time out when I needed it, and I did what I could to keep me as healthy and safe as I could. And I did what I could. And I also understand with all of this here is mutable water. The one thing that and that's mutable, and that's mutable. One thing I personally understand, everything changes. And you can either wait for Pluto to come along and rip it from your grasp, because Pluto is merciless and he'll crush you, or you can go, here you go, take it and let it go and understand and embrace that you will not know who you are for a little while, and that life will get very, very tedious and very difficult and very, very confusing. And life has been tough, but I also understood that if I resisted it, it would be 10 times more difficult. And I would have ended up physically ill. I could not control what was going on, but I could control how I dealt with what was going on. Because I also have 4 stepchildren and none of them helped me. Both my parents are dead. My brother's a total and utter individual. And I'm Australian. I'm here alone. So when you understand the parameters of how you have to operate within, you go, okay. So you dig deep. And you either ride the wave of transformation or you sink. There's no 2 ways about it. I am not a victim of my husband's illness and family. I am me, and I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm very grateful for what happened, because I wouldn't be who I am without it. And I mean that sincerely. Brain surgery and all. That was the other thing. It's in the chart. Pluto is surgeons, and Pluto was on my Venus when I had brain surgery. And I could talk about stuff like this forever, because you put up everyone's chart and it's like, well, when I was 15, this happened. Well, yeah, look at that. When I was so like 58, when I was 37, when I was 22, it's in the chart. It's always in the chart.
I've got Pluto just about to go over my Venus. Should I be
Mhm.
worried?
No, because what Pluto is a giant wheel that goes very, 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 very slowly. And what Pluto does is it will do a deep, it's like making diamonds. Pluto is hard hat. Put your hard hat on and go down into your shadow. Go down into your shit and shovel it with glee and go through your cupboard, internally, metaphorically or other, and get rid of everything that doesn't work, that doesn't fit. It's a cleansing, it's a growth period, and growth happens through negative. So the more you get rid of and the more you let go of, the lighter you are, the healthier you are. That's healing. It's not accumulation. It's actually letting go. Letting go of your belief systems, letting go of any of the trauma of what happened in your childhood, letting go, but not, you don't have to forgive the perps. It's self-forgiveness. Because you'll never understand why people do what they do to you. And if you go down that route, you will go mad. Because they've got their own story and their own reason as to why they did what they did when they did it.
Totally.
But I matter to me. And I'm enough. And if someone doesn't like me, fine. Don't let the door hit you on the butt on the way out.
And so this is we've come to the top of the hour, and I think that's really
We have
fantastic.
indeed.
It's a fantastic way to finish it. I think that's absolutely lovely to finish on the hour talking like you just did.
And if someone doesn't like my language, I do humbly apologize, but it's not going to change. It's just who I am.
Fabulous. We won't change you for a button. That's it.
Thank
Sue.
you.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending the class today. And there are replays on my website that you have access to. And Sue has kindly offered her time and her amazing skill and knowledge of many, many years, 35 years, I think you said, wasn't it?
I had to think then. I'm 60 in February and I started astrology when I was 16.
Amazing. Wow. Incredible.
And you're an eternal student of astrology. It never stops because there's always something different. And this is what I know. I've got friends who do different branches of astrology. And one of my mates, Steve Judd, he did Shifts Happen last weekend or the weekend before. And he's a maverick astrologer. He likes to think outside the box. He's one worth following on YouTube.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, go well, guys.
Thank you,
so much,
Sue. Thank you, Althea.
Absolutely
guys.
fantastic. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Sue. See you in the WhatsApp group.
Indeedy doos.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.